Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening as we run through the process for group registration for 2023. I'm lucky to have my colleague Natalie here, who is our membership assistant, and she'll be walking through the process that we'll need to follow this evening. If you have any questions at all after the webinar, please feel free to email us membership@woodcraft.org.uk. Without further ado, I'll hand over to Natalie.
Thank you, Grace. So I'm just going to go through the group registration process. There hasn't been too much change from last year, but there are just a few bits I'd like to sort of emphasize. And first of all, we're going to start with why it's important that every group registers for 2023 and every year going forward. Then we're going to go on to the steps that the group coordinator needs to take, how to update your child and young person records, and then the resources that we have available for you to view afterwards. Next slide, please. Great. So the group registration process is a requirement for every single group each year that the group is open. So the process allows Woodcraft folk to know if groups are running, if they're closed, whether they're operating within Woodcraft folk policy, such as the safeguarding policy. And it also gives us accurate child registration numbers so that when we raise the invoices in January to the district treasurers, that we're raising hopefully the correct amount, and we're sort of limiting the back and forth between us and the district, and then we can close the group registration process fairly quickly. Next slide, please. So there are 4 parts to the group registration process that the group coordinators need to do. So first of all is completing the group registration form, which there is a link to on our website, and we also sent out a mailing earlier today. This is pretty much the same as last year, so you're going to be filling in your basic details about the group, who's a group coordinator, the safeguarding lead, how many children you have attending, all of those sorts of questions. The second part will be making sure that your group is up to date on Groop. So the most important part is to make sure that your child registrations are up to date. So this process is going to be making sure that any children that are not on Groop, you're adding them as a new user, archiving those who no longer attend. And with this, you can do this at the same time as updating the child registrations. You'll need to make sure that your office holders are correct on Groop as well. So this part is also really important because it allows us to be able to contact the correct person very quickly if there was an issue, such as a safeguarding issue, and to make sure that we're mailing the correct people with information. And then lastly, we ask for you to update the details of your group on the group details page. So all of this is laid out clearly in the guidance we've created. So we'll go through some of these parts in a bit more detail. Next slide, please. Yes, so we have created resources, which I will just give you a brief overview of. So we've got the group registration 2023 guidance. So this is a PDF that's available on our website. You can download that as well. We also have the general group guidance, which shows you the processes of editing child information, adding users, archiving, changing roles, sort of the basics. But we also obviously have the membership team here, and we're always happy to answer questions. And you can contact us at membership@woodcraft.org.uk. So that's the end of the presentation, I think, Grace.
Yes, yeah, I will stop sharing my screen here.
Thank you.
There we are.
So I think if I share my screen now, I'll just briefly show you the guidance. Obviously, this will be available for everyone to read themselves. So let me share. Great. So the group registration page, group registration 2023 on our website. So here we've just got a brief overview of what I've just talked about, the 4 stages of the group registration. the first point is the group registration form. So if you click on this link here, it will open the group registration form, and you can just work your way through this. Then that will be, sent to us, and we will then use that to update anything on our end that needs updating, as well as it will then prompt us to check group for the child numbers, and then we can invoice the district the correct amount.
I think it's really important as well that we just note that the deadline for that is the 31st of December, just to make sure that we've got all the information we need before Natalie invoices the district treasurer.
Yeah, I completely forgot about, that is important, yes. Yeah, so I'll invoice in January, and obviously, ideally, we want everyone to have submitted this by the end of December. And that way, the process doesn't need to take any longer than it needs to. And, we can get it all sorted fairly quickly. So we've got the form, and then over here on the right-hand side, we've got Group Registration 2023 Guidance for Group Coordinators. So this is going to be on the website over here, and you can also download this if you'd like. So this opens up to our guidance, and this just basically goes through each step, but in a bit more detail of how you would actually do that on Groop. And I've added some little screen grabs as well, because I find them quite useful. Those really help me. So I really do encourage everyone to have a proper look through this. Give it a go yourselves. And if you are still struggling, please do email. But the main parts are, being able to archive and add children, changing roles for, your office holders. We've got completing the form, which that's fairly self-explanatory. So you would just complete this Google form. And a part that is very important as well as letting us know if there have been any group closures or mergers or temporary closures for whatever reason. Again, please just send us lots of emails at membership@woodcraft.org.uk. And then the payment of your group registration fee, that is done by the district treasurer. And we will be releasing the confirmed fees for 2023 shortly, once this is confirmed with the finance team. And another important point is that no group will be prevented from registering if they face financial difficulties. Again, please contact us if you really are struggling, or you've got some questions you'd like to put in a payment plan, anything. We're really happy to try and make this, a stress-free, easy process, and we don't want any group to suffer. And yeah, so I think that is pretty much it. Let's just reiterate that it's due on the 31st of December. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Fantastic. Natalie, thank you so much for sharing that. That was really clear. And I think this session has been great. It's just a short and sharp, bite-sized learning to just refresh people's memories as we go into Group Reg for 2023. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us. And if you're watching the replay, I hope that you found this webinar helpful. So yes, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next session. Bye.